Hello and welcome to our next maths lesson. Now, maths yesterday, mixed success I would say. I think some of us were getting scared of the word algebra. But we'll continue to look at that maybe another point. We'll come back to it. For now though, we're going to look at ratio. Now, to help you do this, I'm going to put you into my screen so that we can look at some simple problems, work up our way to more difficult ones, and then hopefully you'll be ready to crack on with some of the questions. So let's go into my screen. So as it says, our learning objective is to solve sequence problems involving ratio. I'm just going to move my head down there a little bit. Now, what ratio is all about is if we know a relationship between two things, we can use that to help us work out more. So for example, if I told you that for every 3 blue counters, there will always be 2 red ones, we can call that a ratio. So our ratio here is, and the way that you'd write this down, is 3 for 2, or 3 to 2. We can sometimes say that, let's call that as 2, okay? So if our relationship between these counters is that there's always 3 blue counters for 2 red ones, we can use that to work out other things. So if I told you instead, using the same ratio that we ended up having, let's keep going, 9 blue counters, I can use that to make sure that I know how many red ones there are. And we know that for every 3, there's going to be 2 red ones. So there's 3 blue, 2 red, 3 blue, 2 red. So if I was having to find out if I had 9 blue counters, how many red ones will I have? It would be 2. No, it would be 2. It would be 6 because our ratio is 3 for 2. For every 3 blue ones, there are 2 red ones. Okay, and this works for lots of other things. So let's say that I always said that in this ratio, we're going to have 3 red counters for every 4 blue counters. So let me just quickly do this. 1, 2, 3. I've done it on the wrong side. Now there are going to be, for every 3 red counters, there are going to be 4 blue ones. So that is my ratio set up. Now let's say that I told you that there were going to be 16 blue ones. So I'm just going to copy them over, speed up. So now 4, 8, 12, 16. And then I was asking you, whoa, didn't need to go to that. Close that, close that. Okay, let's say we've got to 16 blue ones. Now I know that for every 4 blue counters, there are going to be 3 red ones. So there's going to be 3 red ones compared to that. There's going to be 3 red ones compared to those. And there's going to be 3 red ones compared to that bottom 4 at the end. So if there are 16 blue counters, that means that there must be 12 red counters. Okay, and that is basic ratio. It's basic ratio. Now, obviously we've not always got the counters available to us. So what we're going to do, let's say I tell you that for every 10 blue counters, there are going to be 6 red ones. So what you need to do in your success criteria is set it up like this, okay? Set it up so that you've got a ratio that looks like this, and I want to see this in your books. Our success criteria, actually let me quickly drag our success criteria over here for today. This is the sheet that you're going to have when you are completing the work. Let me just copy this over. Sorry, should have done this before, but yeah, we're not perfect, are we? So this is our success criteria. Just going to throw it over there. So we're going to read the question carefully because most of the questions we're doing today are word problems. Then we are going to write it out like a ratio, so make it look like this. And then what I would also do on top is write down what it is that we know about. Okay, so that's blue, that's red. Then, if I tell you that we have got 50 blue counters, okay, and I want to know how many red counters that means we've got. So I'm going to write 50 on this side because it is the blue side, okay? We're talking about blue counters. I know that they're blue counters, so I'm writing on this side. And then what I do is multiply or divide one side to make the new number that we know. So I need to work out how have I got from that 10 to that 50. And it must, we never add when we're doing ratio. It must be multiplication. So 10 lots of 5 is going to get me to 50. Now, as this says on the other side, whatever I do on one side, I must also do on the other. So I've multiplied by 5 on the other side, so I'm going to multiply by 5 on this side. So my answer is going to be 5 times 6, 6 times 5, which is 30. So if I've got 50 blue ones, I know that I would have 30 red ones. Let me just do, what's the next question here? Just do one more before we get to that. So this time, let's say that I have got 3 yellow counters, and for every 3 yellow counters, I have got 7 white ones. Okay? For every 3 yellow counters, I've got 7 white ones. Now, if I told you that I had 35 white counters, and I wanted to know how many yellow counters that means I end up with, well, we go to the side. Now, 35 white. So do I know the yellow counters or do I know the white counters? 35 white. I know the white counters, so I'm going to put 35 on this side. So then I work out how have I got from that to that. Hopefully you realise that I've also multiplied by 5 on this one too. And because I've multiplied by 5 on this side, I must multiply by 5 on this side. And 3 times 5 is 15. Year 6, I cannot say how important it is to set this out. So in every question you do today, I want to see a ratio that looks like this. Okay, every question that you do, I want to see a ratio that looks like this. Now, let me just copy this. Let's get on to some of the word problems. So, word problems are the kind of things that you're going to be doing today. So in year 6, there were 5 boys for every 3 girls. Straight away there is the ratio. So I'm going to write that down before I do anything else. I write that down. So there were 5 boys, put a B at the top, for every 3 girls, and I put a G. Okay? Once you get that bit done, the rest of it is actually quite straightforward. So if there are 25 boys, how many girls will there be? 25 boys, so that's going to go under my boy side, and that's why I write in the B, so I don't end up putting it on the wrong side. There are 25 boys, how many girls will there be? So I multiply, divide one side to make the new number. How have I got from there? Oh no, I'm obsessed with multiplying by 5, but I multiply by 5. 5 times 5 is 25, and because I've times by 5 on the other side, I also times by 5 on this side. So 3 times 5 is going to be 15. So my answer, and you need to write down your answer somewhere because that isn't an answer. Your answer is 15 girls. You might even write a sentence that says something like, there will be 15 girls. Okay, let's look at another one. Stick my success criteria somewhere. Run out of space on the screen. Put it over there. So this has got 2 parts to the question. This is the last one. Mr. Fraser has been collecting marbles. He has red, blue and yellow marbles in his bag. For every 4 red marbles, there are 2 blue marbles and 3 yellow marbles. I've got a ratio. So guess what I'm going to do before I do anything else? I'm going to write that out. So for every 4 red marbles, and they're red, there are 2 blue marbles, that's blue, and 3 yellow marbles. Okay, this ratio's got 3, but that's okay. If he has 22 blue marbles, how many marbles are red? So I'm going to go on to my ratio below, and I'm changing 22 blue, so I'm putting the 22 under the blue bit. And we're trying to find out how many red marbles he's got. So, how have I gone from this 2 to this 22? And it must be a multiplication. Hopefully you can see that I've multiplied by 11. So if I multiplied this by 11, I must also do what? Multiply this by 11. And 4 times 11 is 44. So my answer to this question is 44. Now, this is another question. If he has a total of 27 marbles, how many yellow marbles does he have? Now, just to help us do this, I'm going to do a little bit of rubbing out. You obviously wouldn't need to rub out because you've done the work. I've just not got much space. Now, we're talking about the total number of marbles here. Now, actually, none of this tells me the total. So what I can do is add a 4th column with the total. So 4 add 2 is 6, add that is 9. And that is my total number of marbles. So we know that he's got a total number of marbles of 27. and I'm trying to find out how many yellow marbles he would have. So how have I gone from 9 to 27? I times by 3. So for this, I times by 3. 3 times 3 is 9. So my answer is he would have 9 yellow marbles. So there is a quick little whistle stop tour, I think that's the phrase, of ratio. Obviously you can go back, you can pause stuff, you can try stuff again, you can have a little go on your paper as you go through, and then you need to choose ready, steady or go. Okay, so the questions that we looked at then started off with ready, moved on to the steady questions, goes a little bit trickier again. So have a go, challenge yourself, see how you get on, and I look forward to seeing you at Year 6. Okay, goodbye.